Good grief. Somebody forgot to turn the heater on outside last night. It's chilly. Where's my sunglasses? I gotta have my sunglasses to build confidence, as they say. Oh, April 20th. There's another pair. Well, these are nasty. Seems like an appropriate time to discuss weed. Y'all got weed? I was up at Hirsch the other day, if you can believe that, and they had just replenished their weed identification cards, and I picked up one of each. I like to keep those handy. I've got a little booklet that I made last year, but I didn't get there when they first put them all out. So I was missing some. But anyhow, I was just so happened to be there the day that Garrett was putting those out, and I didn't get any that day, but I got some a couple days later, and threw those in the truck. I've got a little loose leaf binder thing that I put them all in, alphabetized, because that's how my OCD works. But anyhow, it's always good to know what kind of weed's what kind of weed. You don't want to misidentify. And there's good reason for that. As you can see, I've got the tractor on the trailer back here behind me. And yesterday I was out spraying a gentleman's property. And, he's got, I think about 50 acres or something like that. Maybe 35 or 40 acres of pasture. The rest of it's woods, and he's got cows on part of it, and he's got horses on another part of it, and his neighbor's got horses. And one of the neat things about these cards is not only does it give you a nice picture of the leaf and a plant, so you can, this one doesn't necessarily have a close-up and a plant, but maybe it is. But it makes it easy to identify. But then it also, for weed control, tells you what kind of chemical you want to kill that particular weed, and how much per acre. Kind of confusing for those unfamiliar with per acre. Okay, usually they don't give you a really good mix ratio. That's the kind of the confusing part. But let's say you got ragweed, and let's see, Duracor is what they're saying to use to kill it. Looks like 16 to 20 ounces. I'm having to read backwards. 16 to 20 ounces per acre broadcast rate to get rid of that. Grazon, I use a lot of Grazon. I use a lot of what's that other stuff called? Gunslinger. Grazon P&D and Gunslinger P&D. Those are going to kill just about anything broadleaf. And obviously, the more hardy the broadleaf, the thicker, the richer you want your mixture. Buckbrush is in here. Buckbrush, don't confuse buckbrush with buckwheat. Two different species, I think. I could be mistaken on that. But, oh my gosh, the locust trees, honey and black locust. We hate those suckers. Those are them thorn trees that's all over around here. A lot of people call those Bradford pears. And I was doing some reading on that here recently, and something to do with let's see, the Asian pear, something about using a hybrid of that to make the Bradford pear, and to remove the thorns. And then something about the way they're cut down when people are trying to eradicate them, what suckers back, because it comes off of the root, which is the Asian pear. That's where you get the thorns. Obviously, what was that I just read? Okay, the locust trees. Poison ivy, everybody knows that one there. Leaves of 3, let it be. Leaves of 5, let it thrive. There's all kinds of different weeds in here. And when building a feed plot, I've heard many people say, it doesn't hurt to leave the weeds in there because they've seen deer out there eating those weeds. And this is true, okay? Kind of like a Facebook fact check here. It's partially true. Yes, deer will eat some weeds. In comparison to what we're putting out for feed plots, that's a whole different ballgame. And deer, when the weeds are right, young and tender or whatever, and there's little of other things for them to eat, they're hungry. Okay, they're probably going to nibble on them. Okay, but is it beneficial to them? Probably not as good as something that a person's going to have out there for a deer food plot. The other thing is if you've got weeds in your field and you don't get rid of those weeds, and then you try to put in a feed plot, eventually those weeds are going to choke out the beneficial stuff that you're putting in there, and year after year you're going to see a reduction in deer traffic. And that's our goal whenever we're putting out food plots, is to bring in as many deer as we can, give them the proper protein diet that they need, specifically this time of the year. And we want proteins all year long. Okay, we've discussed that too many times, but we want to give them the proper diet, the best that we can, year round, even through the heat of the summer. And there's other things that we can plant that are going to come in stronger as the weather warms up. And as you can see, today is not a warm day. It snowed in Kansas City last night. They're calling for a possibility of snow later today. And when we're eradicating weeds, and this is an important topic, a lot of these chemicals, they need to be on the ground, on the leaves of the weeds for 24 hours before you get any substantial rainfall, because several of the chemicals are neutralized by rainwater, pond water, creek water, and I don't really understand why. I'm not a chemist. I know a chemist, but well water, tap water, it works with, but something about whatever it is that happens when it's been in a pond or a creek or falls out of the sky causes these chemicals to neutralize. And this is the way that the chemical companies are making things safer, so cattle can graze behind them, graze on specifically. Glyphosate, when it's your Roundup, same story there. It's a contact killer. It's got to touch the leaf. Once it gets to the ground, the soil, it's done. Okay, it neutralizes it. And so weather plays a huge role in weed eradication. Okay, they're calling for rain, possibly snow tonight, so today's not a good day to be spraying. I was spraying a different property yesterday and then brought the tractor home yesterday afternoon to do some spraying around here, and I'm moving it back out to Rover today, and we're going to take a look at some weed, and might even be able to get up into that one little patch I was talking about the other day and do some hinge cutting. But I got to get rolling, or I'll just sit here and talk all day. Y'all be safe. It's Tuesday, April the 20th, and we're looking at weed.